Hey guys, Amber here from A Simple Fit Life. I talk about simplicity and fitness a lot. I don't talk about the life quite so much, and today we're going to dig into the life hardcore. A lot of you don't know, but I am a widow. I guess was a widow. My first husband passed away when we were 24. He had thymus carcinoid cancer, and we had about a year of marriage before he was diagnosed, and then 3.5 years of cancer life before he passed away. That came with a lot of turmoil and emotions and craziness for not just after he passed away, but a lot of life after that. And then it kind of flared up again after I got married. But it's really been pretty good. That's not the right word, but pretty normal for the last 2 or 3 years. And the last couple of years, his birthday hasn't been as tough. The date of his passing is still a rough one. But his birthday's been getting easier and easier. And yesterday, March 14th, would have been his 34th birthday. And I noticed a new emotion, and that's what I want to talk about today, is an emotion that I don't think a lot of people talk about when you talk about grief. It's guilt. I've had this pop up various times. It's actually why I struggled after I got married, because I felt guilty for moving on. And that kind of reared its head again yesterday. I was doing good all day, and then I had this moment when I realized that not everyone was doing good. His mom was having a hard day. His brother was having a hard day. You know, I got to get married again and experience life again with my 2 girls, and his brother didn't get a new brother after Mark passed away, and his mom didn't get a new son after Mark passed away. His nieces and nephews didn't get a new uncle. I'm the only one that got to experience that renewal afterwards, and I had a lot of guilt about not feeling sad. And it took me a while to even figure out what that guilt was about. I kind of threw out the word guilt to a friend, and she helped me dig in and dig through that. And that's what it came down to, is I was feeling guilty that I didn't feel sad. And I guess I'm here not really with a solution to that per se. I think emotions are super individualistic, and you got to find your groove. One of my big things is another part of my name, A Simple Fit Life. Fitness is a great way for me to process emotions as I'm working out. I work through those emotions. That's when I think I don't have background noises. I don't play music anymore when I'm running or anything. I just think and let it flow, and that's when I process through a lot of things. But you need to find your groove. I also saw a therapist, not right away. I went to a grief group right away. But then I saw a therapist after Ryan and I got married. And that worked for a little while. It just wasn't quite what I was looking for, or maybe it just wasn't what I was expecting. I'm not sure. I did go for a while, and I know it was helpful because I was really in a bad spot there for a while. But it wasn't something I felt the need to continue long term, personally. But you need to find that for you. What I want to do today with this is to tell you that guilt is normal, and it's going to come up, and you're going to feel guilty. I also want to tell you it's silly. It really is. You can't feel guilty for the number of things I feel guilty for selling our house, for moving away from his family, for not seeing his family as much as I used to. Because honestly, that's still a little hard. I love his family dearly, but all I can do when I see him is think of Mark, and I know the same thing when they see me. But I love them dearly, and I will keep seeing them. But I feel guilt about not seeing him as often. His nieces and nephews, about having my own kids and traveling and getting married again and buying a different house without him, and just all of those things. A little bit of me every time I buy a new car. He was a gearhead. It makes me a little sad that he's not there to look it over and tell me if I'm buying a lemon or not. Guilt will come up, and unless there's something you really did wrong, it's kind of silly. You don't need to feel guilty for living your life. And it's going to pop up, but I want to encourage you to address it and to label it. And once you can label it and define it, it's so much easier to move past it. That's exactly what happened yesterday. I just felt off. I wasn't sad. I wasn't depressed. And I knew what day it was. And I was like, well, I'm not sad. I'm not depressed. I'm not ready to break into tears. Like, what's going on? I was just weird. And once I could identify that I felt guilty for not being sad, I was able to work through that and talk myself through that and realize that was really misplaced guilt. But yeah, I guess I just really want to make sure that you guys know that guilt is a normal emotion after death. And it's just not one that's talked about. You talk about the anger and the anxiety and the grief and the sadness and just the sensitivity that happens. But I don't know that people talk about guilt, and it comes up. And it comes up more often than you'd think. And so I just want to let you know that that's okay. That's, by my definition, normal. I'm not a psychiatrist or anything, but I think it's a normal feeling to have. And I wanted to let you guys hear it straight from somebody who's experienced it. I am finally, I think, in a place 9 years later that I really want to be able to connect with some of you about this. So if there are any other young widows or widowers out there who need to just talk to somebody and say, is this rational? Is this normal? Did you experience this? Please reach out to me. You can leave me a message below and I'll find you. You can find me on Facebook, A Simple Fit Life, or you can email me asimpleFitLife@gmail.com. Probably Facebook would be the best way. If I'm honest, I don't check my Simple Fit Life email that often. But I'd love to talk with you. If you're somebody who's going through a serious, cancer fight or another disease fight at a young age, I'd love to talk to you. I don't have a lot of spare time. I have a full-time job. I have a side gig I love, and I have 2 little girls. But I've experienced it, and I feel like if I've gone through it, I could probably help somebody else. So, yeah, reach out. And if I'm not the person, if you're not comfortable with me, reach out to somebody. Anybody. Seriously. And then tell them, I'm not expecting you to have answers. I need someone to listen. Because most people won't have answers. Everybody's so different. But it's amazing what can happen when you just express what's going through your head. It's amazing what you can straighten out. All these things that are just spinning and spinning and spinning. When you start vocalizing them, you can kind of start seeing where everything kind of straightens out and lines up. And, oh, that's what's going on. That's exactly what happened yesterday as my friend was quizzing me about this word guilt that I just thrown out there. I just started spitting out answers to her. None of them really made any sense. And then, bam, I feel guilty that I'm not sad. And that's a misplaced guilt. I don't know. This is rambling. Like I said, it's not my normal topic, but it's something I've just really wanted to share in case there was someone else out there going through it too. Bye.